My next guest picked up his pro debut victory in March earlier of this year, and of course, is Jack Eglin on the show. Jack, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Yourself? How are you?
I'm good. What has life been like for you since? It seems like a lifetime ago since you stepped in the cage last.
Yeah, man. It feels like that for me too. Like I'm itching to get back in there. Definitely. It's been. Do you know what I mean? It's been the same for everyone especially in England. It's just up and down, constantly going into lockdown, out of lockdown. So trying to just sort of make sure everything's good, stay training, stay ticking over. Like it's out of my control, so I'm not going to stress about it too much. Like, I can't help that this COVID thing's happened, so I've just sort of I'm going with the flow. Um, I've managed to now sort of figure out that I can get a camp together, whether it be in lockdown or not now. So yeah, just getting ready to scrap now. Really, that's it. Do you know what I mean? Get ready to punch someone up.
Yeah, well, that's exciting to hear. How has, I guess, the normal things you do in camp changed at all with COVID and whatnot? Do you have to take extra precautions while you're training? Are you able to get that hard sparring in you normally do?
Um, to be fair, for me, it's kind of normal. Like in camp, all I do is go to the gym, come home, go back to the gym, come home. Like that is it. Like all fighters know when you're in camp, you have no time to do anything other than train, rest, recover, train again. If I've got to work too, so it'll be like work, train, come home, train again. But that's it really. Yeah, so it's not been too different. It's just a bit more cautious with who your training partners are. I'm only really training with people who I've trained with before. I'm not letting any new guys come in really. But that's it.
What do you do for work, and how many hours do you work? How does that affect your ability to train?
It depends. Like it's hard, obviously, to work and try and train full time. I work like usually a minimum of 3 days a week if I can, just to help my mum with like rent money and stuff. Um, but other than that, I just train. That's all I do. So like it's hard. It's definitely hard, but like if anything's worth it, it's worth doing that. Like and now obviously with where I'm at, I'm not making crazy money or anything. So I know it's got to be done. So I'm doing it just until I get to that point where I can really focus on training full time. And when I do, everyone's fucked. That's all I'm saying.
I love that. When did you know that you wanted to pursue a career as a mixed martial artist? Because you're still a super young guy and you had a
Yeah.
very extensive amateur career. So when did it just click that you're like, you know what, this is what I want to do for a living?
Um. Do you know what? When I was like 13, 14, like when I first started, like I it's weird to say when I was little, I wasn't like I've always been like I'll fight anyone. Like I'm quite aggressive, but I never used to like fighting. Then I started training and got more used to it, and then I just like fell in love with it. It's weird. Like I stopped for a little bit, and then I went back, and it just clicked. And I just knew like I don't know why I just knew this was something I wanted to do forever. And then seeing someone who from my gym ended up getting in the UFC, had quite a few fights in the UFC, my coach Bradley Scott, just seeing that, it sort of just like I thought like this can be like it was almost like it can be done. I'm seeing it in person. Like he didn't get to where I want to be, but he's done it to a certain extent of where like the blueprint's almost there. I've just got to take it a bit further. Do you know what I mean? And running with it myself. So seeing that, I just thought, and for me, I'm not very academic. Like I struggled in school, um, like things like that. School was just never my thing. So when I did that, I was saying to teachers when I was in like year nine in school, like ninth grade, saying to teachers then, I'm gonna be a fighter. Like, and they'd always be like, oh well, what if it? I'm single minded. If I'm saying I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do it to my fullest until I can't give no more. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you there on the school thing, man. I had to basically pay my algebra teachers in high school and college to pass me because I was at it. Now, as far as like, someone that you really looked up to as a young man when you first started fighting, is there someone maybe like a Michael Bisping that you really aspired to be like? Can you kind of elaborate on that?
Do you know what? No, it's weird to say. Like I had fighters who I wanted to like style wise, I wanted to take things from their game and put it into mine. But like as a person, I've never really looked up to a fighter. I've more looked up to people who I know personally. So like I had like my older like one of my older brothers, Michael. He like, I love all my brothers to death. Like we're all super close. Um, but I used to go a lot of places with him, so he was like one of my first people I super looked up to. Um, Yeah, just more people I know, like my head coach Stu Pike. He's like as a man, like I want to be like him. He's like super good, just nice bloke, like humble. If you want to think of a nice bloke, you just think of him. Do you know what I mean? Like he'll take his shirt off your back. So like as a person, him. But yeah, as a fighter, there's only people who I want to take things from their style, but not as a person. I don't know them, so I can't really say, oh, I want to be like that when I don't know them, because they could be a dickhead. For all I know, they could be an absolute prick. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So yeah.
Fair enough. One of the I'm a big sports fan in general. MMA, the NFL, the NBA. I like it all, really. There's been a lot of discussions as far as like goats are concerned. LeBron James just
Yeah.
won his title, and he's been compared to Michael Jordan. As a younger guy yourself, when you think of the best mixed martial artist to ever compete, who comes to mind for you?
A couple of guys, GSP is definitely one of them. For me, because I know him personally as a person and how good he is, Benson Henderson. Um, John Jones, like as much as whatever happen outside the octagon, but inside the octagon, you can't say it's not. So them three guys for me are probably the top of the list, definitely.
Gotcha. I like all those picks. They're very good there. Now, your pro debut, round one finish, ground and pound, man. Tell me, what was the game plan going in? And obviously, your round one finish, you're pleased with your performance, but just run me through, I guess, your overall takeaway of your pro debut.
Yeah, it went well. Do you know what I mean? Like there was things I could have done better, but like for a pro debut, I don't think it could have got much better. I didn't get hit once. So that was nice. I didn't like I could have went again like straight away. Um, but yeah, no, it was a good night. It was good to get back in, like get the experience of like having the nerves, because I was like that was the most nervous I've ever been before a fight ever. Like I didn't think it would be any different personally going in. Like mentally, I was like, yeah, this it's just a fight at the end of the day. But like it definitely on the night it was different. Like I'm not gonna lie and say it wasn't, because it was. And definitely after though, it was more rewarding. Like I stayed up. I'm not a bit like I don't really drink. Like don't get me wrong, I do have a drink and stuff. After fights, I never drink. Um, and I stayed up until like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning just off adrenaline of how I just couldn't sleep. Like, and I've never had that before a fight. I usually get back to the hotel, I have a shot of whiskey with the boys, and then I'm like and sleep. So, but this time I just like I sat awake, and it was just like I was so happy because I dreamt to do like not dreamt, but like I envisioned me doing that when I was younger, and to finally be doing it and seeing it come into fruition, it was just like wow. So.
Absolutely. Well, congrats on that pro debut
Thank you.
victory. Now, it was all the way back in March. I mean, 2020 has been such a weird year, and it just,
Yeah.
I don't know, I can't even think back to March. It seems like a lifetime ago. But was that right before COVID actually hit? So you were able
Yeah.
to have fans and everyone there?
Yeah. It was just before. So I fought like 3 weeks before we went into like national lockdown. Because I remember I fought, and like I remember just before I left America, I come back like 2 weeks before my fight. Um, and I remember then there was like talks of it, but I was like, oh, like it's a load of shit sort of thing, like whatever. Had the fight, like fans, everything was still allowed. And then next thing I know, couple like 2 3 weeks later, bang, lockdown. Like it was like whoa.
Yeah.
So
Do you know anyone that's got COVID, and have they had like really bad symptoms?
I've met one of my mates had it. He's had it twice, and he's been fine.
Mm, yeah.
Um, and then I know a couple other people whose like girlfriends or boyfriends have had it, but they've been fine. And then a lad I trained with up in Birmingham, he had it. He said it wasn't too bad. Like he said he was a bit like he was ill, but he wasn't. It wasn't nothing major. Like oh shit, I need to go to hospital. Like this is bad. So yeah.
Yeah. I've heard it affects everyone a little bit differently.
Yeah, I think it's like people say, like the more vulnerable you are, if you've got like underlying things anyway, like any sort of illness is never going to be good for you, whether it is COVID or not.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Definitely. Now, one thing I found really interesting in doing my research for this interview, you made your pro debut coming off a loss. Your last amateur fight was a loss. What went behind I guess, the decision to turn pro, coming off a loss? Because you don't typically see that. Usually you see it after a couple of wins.
Yeah. It was more of just I felt ready. And the way the fight went, I knew if it was pro rules and pro, like I would have won. Like I know it sounds stupid, but but that's just how I feel personally. I feel like if that was 5-minute rounds and had 3 5-minute rounds, I would have finished him. Because I only like that whole fight. I feel like I only lost 6 minutes. Like in a pro fight, that's not even half the time. Like, and I was just getting started, so I knew that. Like, and I was just I was getting to the point with amateur where like I've done it for so long, even though I'm so young, I've been doing it for so long, and I've been cutting weight and stuff. I was just like, now I'm getting to the point where cutting weight and stuff, and not getting anything back out of it. I'm getting to the point where it's like, I feel ready. I know my skill set's ready. Like, it's just time. I felt like now's the time. And my coaches in America at the lab, they had all been saying like, about time. When I turned pro, they were like, it's about time. So, yeah.
Well, tell me about, I guess, your progression as a mixed martial artist, because if I'm not mistaken, your record as an amateur was 8-5. You know, that's more losses than I'm sure you would have liked to have experienced. How do you feel like you've grown, and where do you feel like you've tightened your game up, where maybe you wouldn't have experienced those losses, you know, now as a fighter?
Yeah, I was 9-4, 9-4, 9-4,
Okay.
9-4. Even still, I shouldn't have a single loss. I should have won every fight. But I would say I've just over the years, just like as I'm coming into my man straight, like as I'm coming into a man and stuff now, I'm noticing like the technique as in wrestling wise was sort of there. Like it's can always obviously it needs to get better massively. Like I'm nowhere near what I'm gonna be, but it's getting to the point now where I'm holding my own against good wrestlers. Like I'm getting back up. I'm not getting held down anymore. Like I've been to gyms all over the world. I've never really been like outstruck anywhere. So that was more of just adding more tools. Like I had tools there already. Now it's just adding more kit to the toolbox almost. So just adding new things, always trying to learn. Like you're never too good to learn. You can learn from anyone. So trying to just like Darren Till says, you're not going to get better every day. You're going to have bad days here and there. But just week by week, month by month, just making sure I've been getting better, whether that's physically, mentally, whatever it is, just making sure I'm getting better. And that's how I've still got years of fighting. I've got another 15 years if I want to keep fighting. So I'd like to be retired by the time I'm like 32. That'd be nice, which I'm hoping. So, but yeah, like I've got years. I've got time. I've got time on my hands. I don't want to rush anything. I know what level I can compete at now, and I'm years behind a lot of the guys that I'm sparring with who are older than me or they're already there. So I'm like, if I'm competing with them guys now, when I'm there, like there's no in my mind, I'm gonna be a world champ. I know that for a fact. It's just when. So.
Yeah, well, you won the bantamweight strap as an amateur. What did that mean to you? Because even as an amateur, that's a pretty prestigious belt to capture there.
Yeah. I was lucky enough. I fought at flyweight as well, so I won it at flyweight too. But you know what? As an amateur, belts to me don't mean shit. Like I've only got one of my belts. The rest I just gave to other people. I was just like, yeah, like my coach can have one. Dad, you take one. Like I'm not too fussed. To me, a belt's not like, especially as an amateur. Like it's cool. I'm gonna be able to look back when I'm older and be like, Carl, like I'll like at the time that was so big to me. But now when I like and I think about as an amateur, it doesn't mean a lot. Like to me, it does, but do you know what I mean? In the whole spectrum of things, it is what it is. So I'm not gonna make it bigger than what it is. For me, like that's the start. That should be. I should be winning them. Like I should have this title. Like that's what I need to be doing to get to where I want to be. So.
For sure. Well, weight classes moving forward. What do you think you're going to jump back and forth? You're going to stay at one weight class, and what do you walk around?
I'll go up and down. I think I'll be a 2-weight fighter definitely. I think as long as I can make 135 when I'm older, I'll fight at 35 and 45 definitely. Mate, you might even see me at 55. Shit, I'll spar with lightweights. Obviously they're big geezers, so I don't know about that, but definitely I could see if I can still make 135 when I'm older, and I don't find it hard or like have to like kill myself to do it. I'll definitely jump between weight classes. I'll do a double champ. Shit.
What do you walk
Where's
around?
the money? Show me the money. Double champ, baby.
You got to get your Conor McGregor on, right?
That's it. That's
Yeah.
what I want. I need a couple M's in my bank.
There you go. I'm not mad at that at all. How much do you walk around at? What do you typically walk around at?
The heaviest I've walked around, that's 170.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's not too bad then. That should be a pretty easy cut here, especially as a professional making it to 135.
Yeah, definitely. I've got one of the best nutritionists in my eyes. He's the best nutritionist. He's called Dean Cook Nutrition. So if anyone needs needs to get at him. He's the man. He makes my weight cuts like so easy. Like I'm like, so like my last weight cut was the most weight I've ever cut, and it was the easiest weight cut I've had.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know weight cuts easy, obviously, but you can have easier ones. And he's just like he knows his shit. So whatever he says, I do. If he says jump, I say how high. I don't ask any other questions. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Well, it sounds like you have the right person in your corner to help
Definitely.
make weight here moving forward. Tell me, man, what has like the I guess the main training partners looked like at Dragon's Lair for you? Just tell me a little bit about what it's been like there.
So this year, obviously with the COVID, with COVID, it's been hard. But it's a smaller gym, so all year round I've got the same training partners. I've got two Polish twins who I train with all the time. I trained with them since I was like 13, 14. And they fight on the same shows as me as amateurs. Now, like I have those two guys. I have another guy called Max who's like coming through as an amateur now. He's gonna make his amateur debut, but he's been training a while. Like he's not just like an 0-0 amateur. He's good. Like he's good to drill with. I can work with him. And then I've got a couple other guys. There's too many. There's a couple names there, definitely. But those three are the main three. I definitely train with more than anyone else. Definitely.
Are you going to be making your way back to the lab anytime soon?
As soon as I can. As soon as I can. Obviously I can't get over there at the minute with COVID. But as soon as I can, I'm going out there. I wanted to get out there again. I wanted to go again the end of this year, like for a camp. I wanted to go again for two months if I could. Obviously that couldn't happen. So I want to go out as soon as I go out. I'm going to go out for 2-3 months, and then get a fight at the end of it. So
there you go. Well, that's exciting. Who were the main guys that you were working with when you were in the States at the MMA Lab?
So Casey Kenney, Kyler Phillips, Mario Batista, Richie Palencia. Marcus, Sean O'Malley. That's like there's a couple other guys, but off the top of my head right now to think of, they're the main guys that I was sparring with in my last camp. So
what was it like sparring with Sean O'Malley? Because obviously he's a household name. Everyone knows, who he is. Tell me a little bit about what that was like.
I've been sparring Sean for years now. Like before he was in the OC, I knew Sean. So to me, it's just normal. Like it's cool. Like a lot of people ask me that, they're like, "Oh my god, like you changed." I'm like, it's just Sean to me. Like he's no different to anyone else. But yeah, it's cool to see where he's at, and when I spar with him and stuff, it's definitely cool. 100%.
Yeah. You ever thought about doing your hair like his? Maybe going some different colors?
I'm a confident geezer, but I ain't got that in me. I definitely not. Do you know, I would look like a twat. I mean, that would not suit me.
I will say this about him. He's still super young as well, but there's something about him that reminds me a little bit like Conor McGregor. And I know making that comparison, that some people will be like, oh, don't do that. Conor is like he's the notorious one. Everyone knows who he is, but Sean O'Malley is someone that's on the rise. Do you see that comparison and just their style, maybe like their bravado?
Sort of. I think they're very different in ways, but they have, like Dana White says, like he's looking for that thing. They both have that thing. Like they're different, but they have that. Like they stand out. They're not. Do you know what I mean? Like you've never seen Conor dye his hair like that, or you don't see Conor throw certain things that Sean does, but they have that one thing that makes people want to watch. And if you have that, that's all you need. So at the end of the day, it's an entertainment business. You need to be one of the best fighters, but you don't have to be the best. If you're a household name, it doesn't mean you're the best fighter. It just means you have that thing that people want to watch you. All like they will come back and keep watching you. You'll put bums on seats, whether it be because you talk a lot, whether your fight style is good. It doesn't matter what it is. You have that thing, and they both have it. So
yeah, great answer.
That's the resemblance I see between them personally.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was going. They have that thing. That's a good way to put it there. Next fight, man. When can we see you step back in and scrap again next? Are we looking April? Okay. Do you have a promotion specifically that you're going to be?
It'll be the same promotion as my last one. It'll be Cage Warriors Academy. I've got a plan for next year. I've spoken with my management and my team. We've got a plan and what we're gonna do. So next year's gonna be a big year definitely for me and the team. 100%.
Do you have, I know you're earlier in your career as a pro, but do you have any names, anybody specifically that maybe you'd like to get in there and fight? Maybe a loss that you experienced as an amateur that you like to get back as a pro?
I'd love to get them all back, 100%. I'll get them all back one day. We're all, like, all the guys I've lost to are the top guys in the UK. I haven't lost to anyone that's shit. So I'd like to get them all back, definitely. Well, off the top of my head, any names? No. There's a geezer who, I tell you what, he's just won a fight on Cage Warriors, who I think in a couple fights, I'm not going to say his name yet because I'm not, he's above me, so he's got no reason to fight me. But when I get there, you'll know, because it doesn't matter who it is, I'm coming for them all though. They're all going to get it, whether it be this year, next year, wherever, whenever. I'll get them all one by one. I'm going to be a world champ, so I've got to fight anyone, and whoever the number one guy is, I want them. That's the guy I want.
I love the attitude right there. One guy I know, I'm sure you're probably paying attention to. He's someone that a lot of people are looking at as someone that could be a big star in the future. You fought as an amateur, Mohammad Mokaev. Like,
I knew he was gonna say it.
how would a second fight with him go?
I'd smoke his ass. I'm too big for him now, I think, though. He's dropped down to flyweight, and I can never make flyweight again in my life. So unless I chop a leg off, that's the only time I'm making that. So, but to be fair, I think I think me and him could fight again, and me and him will fight again in the UFC. If he comes up from flyweight and I stay at bantamweight, I think me and him will fight again in the UFC for the title. Definitely.
That's exciting
100%.
Right there, man. That's really exciting.
100%.
Well, hopefully that does come to fruition here. Listen, I really appreciate the time today. It's great talking to you and interviewing you for the first time. Before I let you go, I want to give you the floor. If there's anyone you want to thank, any sponsors you have, or any social media you want to plug, the floor is yours.
My man, I just want to thank all my team and my sponsors that have stuck by me for everything. My teams, the Dragons Lair, MMA, and the MMA Lab. All my sponsors, there's too many to name, but you know who you are, and I just want to say thank you for sticking by me through this year. Like, you didn't have to. I haven't been fighting, so for them to stick by me, it means the world. All my friends, my family who constantly back me with support. To yourself for having me on. And if you want to check me out on any social media, it's Jack Eglin MMA on Instagram. My Twitter's Jack Eglin _1. Yeah, man. Girls, check me out on Snapchat, Jack Eglin 123. Yeah, man, that's it.
Sir, awesome. Well, again, appreciate the time, my man. Look forward to talking again soon.
Thank you for having me on, mate. Thank you.